Today we're going to make a plate for a plaque. Instead of grabbing a new file, I already have one open, but you'll be grabbing a new file. Right here I've recorded the sizes of the plates that you need for a plaque, for a full-size plate for the plaque. You can also do a half plate, but that's basically going to be the width by whatever height that you need to fill the space. So right now we're going to do, let's go with an 8x10 plaque. I like to make the background to the size of the plaque. And then I take the rectangle tool, and before doing anything like usual, I go straight to choose hairline. And then I'm going to just draw a rectangle. It doesn't matter the size. I make sure that the lock ratio is turned off. And since we're doing an 8x10 plaque, we're going to do 6 wide by 8 tall. Press P to center, and now we have our plate size. Now remember, every award needs certain information. That information is what is the award for, who is the award for, and when is the award for. On plaques, we actually have room to add who is the award from. And that's why I have this little guy here, because we're going to put the customer's logo. We're going to put it right at the top because this is who it's from, and it's going to make it nice and pretty. And usually logos are basically a piece of artwork by themselves. But this plate, if you notice, when I try to click on the logo, if I try to click on the logo, the plate gets selected instead of the logo. You have to wait until you see the pointer button to be able to get the logo. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select the plate, press Control, and press End. That pushes it all the way back so that when I come here and click on that, it automatically chooses that first. So what is the award for? We're going to make this one an Outstanding Achievement Award. So I'm going to be lazy and just copy and paste with Control-C for copy, Control-V for paste. So this is going to be an Outstanding Achievement Award, and we want this centered. And we're going to want it centered to the plate, but we're going to need to do that again later, so because we're going to make some changes. I'm going to shift and pull it down. I'm going to press Control K so that they're two separate lines. On words, if you press Control K on the line, it'll separate the lines. If you're down to one line, it'll separate the words on the Control K. Notice how it goes down to one word. And if you only have one word and you press Control K, it brings it down to just one letter. Now I'm Control Z to undo those things because that's not what I want to do this time. So what I want to do is I want to make this a nice, big, bold, outstanding. So I'm going to go with, let's go with micro. No, let's go with copper plate. That's my go-to one. And I want them all caps, and I want it to always be all caps. So I'm going to just change it over here in the text properties and choose all caps right there. And boom, it's all caps. I'm going to make this nice and big. We never want to go closer. As a matter of fact, let me Control C, V, right click a green line, and we're going to -0.5 tab, arrow over, -0.5. And then Control End to make sure that goes to the end so we're not always accidentally clicking it. We really want to try and stay within this line. I dropped it down by ½ an inch, and that gives us plenty of room, like if we need to add nails or add a border or anything like that. It gives it a good spacing. So Achievement Award, I'm going to go with, let's see how Amarillo looks. I think that might be nice. Let me check Edwardian script real quick and see how that looks. I think that looks more professional. Let's go with this one. I don't like how slanted it is, so I'm going to do this. So if you click on it once, it's the normal way, the normal manipulation tools. If you click on it again, not double click, it gives you the ability to rotate, which that's not what we want to do. I'm going to remove the italicizedness, or just reduce it a little bit. So I'm going to just drag this to the left a little bit. And I like it better like that. I'm going to click on it again, not double click, and shift and drag to make it a little bit bigger. I kind of want it a little bit taller. So I'm going to shift, I have that selected, shift click this, go back to my align and distribute, and we're going to center it horizontally. It didn't move much, so that's good. It's still centered. I kind of want it a little bit closer to that. And we're going to group that together, Control G. Now I'll check and make sure that it's still centered. I believe my logo is a little bit big. There we go. So this is what the award is for. Now we need who the award is for. So let's grab a name. Let's say this is for Michael. First thing we do is we center it. As a matter of fact, let's put a last name. Lopez. Because usually on plaques you're going to want both first and last names. Let's go with my favorite one for plaques for names is Gaudi hand tooled. I like that one a lot. It comes out really nice. You can also do imprint, but this one is good. And then another thing that I like to do is I like to make the name stand out separately. So I'm going to shrink this just a little bit. We'll do our final sizing at the end though of everything, but I mess with it as I go. I like to make it stand out by using something to make it stand out. So I keep this collection of designs that I pick between so that I don't have to make a new one every time. I think I'm going to go with this one. So I'll press Control. Oh, you know what? There's not a lot of info on this plaque. I'm going to go with this one because it's taller. Control C. Control V. I'm going to press P to get it close to where I want it. And I'll drag it down. And then I'm going to Shift select Michael Lopez. And I'm going to make sure that it's centered horizontally to the name. And now I'll group it. If you notice, I'm grouping every little thing. This is already one piece. I made it one piece. But I'm grouping each thing. This is that layering thing that I was talking about with the grouping. And so now we're going to put a little snippet of why they're receiving the award, because on plaques we can go into more detail like that. So we're going to do best in sales for the year. So we'll press center, and this one we're going to go with monotype because it usually comes out pretty nicely for this. And then what's the last thing we need? We need to know when the award is for. So we're going to add 2020. And then I will center it immediately. And we can either do monotype or Galisto here. Let's try monotype and see how it looks, if it doesn't look too different. I like to frame out the year, so over here we're going to take the one that's similar to it. And we'll press Control C to copy. And Control V to paste. It's a little big. We'll shrink it. And we'll drag it over here. I use Shift even though I'm going to be centering anyway. And then we're going to right click before we let go of the left click. So you see the little plus come up, and let go of both. Now we're going to mirror it horizontally so that it becomes a little reflection on the other side. So I'll center it vertically, and then I will give them an even distribution of space horizontally. And then again, I will group it. So now we have all the parts of our plaque. I'm going to select everything except for the boxes. And I will press center horizontally. See everything centered with each other. And then I'm going to distribute space vertically. And now I will Control G to group it, press P to center to the page. And I can make the whole thing a little bit bigger if you see that there's space right here. But I still don't like to get too close to that. Plus, when you get too large, the words start looking funny. And now I'll ungroup once, but I'm going to check and see if I like the setup. And I'm like, everything looks kind of big and spaced out, but I'm going to shrink this a little bit. Give the name a little bit more focus by shrinking these. I can make the name a little bit bigger. And then this cannot be bigger than that, so we're going to have to shrink that a little bit. And I think now it looks a little bit more proportional. So we're going to do the whole thing all over again. We're going to center, distribute vertically, Control G, P, ungroup once. And now I think that that plaque plate looks good. Remember that before you go to print, you need to remove this hairline because it will print it. So you're going to select it by making sure your cursor is right over it, because remember it's behind this other plate. And then you'll press delete, and here's your plate.